All right, so we're live on Facebook. So now we got to go to their other program, their other meta program. And we're seeing that they're there. And it says that. And we're going to go live. There we are. All right, so I'm coming back over. There we are. And so we're about 3 minutes from 8:15, but we're actually live. So if you say anything, they're going to know because you're live, Kurt. But yeah, no, it had a great day, and everybody's the leadership, at the event in Miami at the Four Seasons, and so that's quite the event that's going on right now, and then we're going down. We'll be there Saturday, and Stuart Hughes is the CEO of the company was speaking, and he's prepared. Now he's a billionaire, and he's prepared a 90-minute talk about mindset, which is mega important. And then Dr. Benjamin Bickman, who is the author of Why We Get Sick, right? Why We Get Sick and How Not to Get Sick. He's going to be speaking. He's a leading metabolic researcher in the world at BYU, and he's going to be speaking. And one of the things he's going to be talking about is Stronghold, which is the new product that we have, and it's all about muscle, building muscle, repairing muscle, and that also is in the PDR.net. So he's going to be talking about that. We're going to be sampling a brand new tea, and so that's kind of exciting. And then there's some other couple really cool announcements. So that's going on. So those are some things that we'll be grabbing and bringing back from what's called the Rise. And how good the company is that Trent and Rav, the two leading North American distributors, are paying for the Four Seasons for everybody that's there right now. It's their own event. And so that's how generous the company is in terms of the leadership. We pour back into ourselves. So all right, it looks like we're right at 8:15. If anybody else joins us, we'll go ahead and go. Hi, I'm George Villa, and I'm the kind of the older guy in the group. I'm 73, yay for me. And Kurt is right there, and Kurt's one of the younger. Well, he's not really younger, but he's younger because it's my son-in-law. So I'm dad, by the way, and he's married to my oldest daughter, Stephanie, who I love and adore. And we got Tristan coming on. Tristan, hello, Tristan. Tristan just spent the day out at the lake.
Yeah.
And, so we're glad she's on, and we're just getting started. And so Tristan is an amazing, amazing young lady. I love her to death. I've known her since she was 4, I suppose. I don't know. As old as I am, that's just kind of how it goes. And she lives in South Dakota, and she's kind of an Illinois girl. Now she's out in around Brookings, which is north of Sioux Falls, on 29, if any of you know any geography. Now, Kurt lives over in Wentzville, which is west of St. Louis and east of Columbia on, what is that, 70, right? Is that 70 that goes by you there?
Yes.
So, 70. Uh-huh. So there you go. And we're kind of combined and joined in arms because we're passionate about helping people. We're passionate about helping people's health. And so we're going to have a conversation and go through a lot of things today. Our agenda is going to look like this. What we're going to be talking about, and as far as an agenda, is we're going to talk about kind of struggles. We're going to talk about our struggles and your struggles, but probably the struggles that we already know everybody has. We're going to talk a little bit about a history of how we got here. And I get to talk about it because I'm the old guy and I've lived both sides of history on this. We're talking about the food history because there are 2 lifetimes of history of food. And these 2 were born on the other side. I was on the front side. So when I was a kid, we had beef. We didn't have grass-fed beef. It was just beef. It wasn't organic beef. It was just beef. We didn't have pasture, free range, whatever. We had eggs. Eggs were eggs, and milk was what you got when you did this in the barn. It wasn't something that was in a container, and then all of a sudden they started making milk out of nuts. I mean, what? Anyway,
You
so
had that government cheese though, didn't you?
government cheese. I'm not sure we did in South Dakota. I think we were a little bit behind on cheese. But we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about some solutions to the issues. We're going to talk about some of that kind of stuff. So that's kind of our agenda on the day. So when we start looking at the whole world, we've got a survey here, and the question I have is: would you agree that there's a metabolic problem in America? Yes or no? Yes.
Yes.
Yes, yes. Okay, great. And you guys, if you're on board on the chat, you can go ahead and comment yes in the chat if you think that's true. The second question we have is: would you agree that the problem in the next 5 to 10 years is going to get worse?
Oh yes, definitely.
Definitely going to get worse, right? And so the third question, then, this is an interesting question I have. Looking at most Americans, would you agree that they spend $6 to $10 a day on breakfast, snacks, crackers, chips, smoothies, sodas, other kinds of snacks in a day? Now, the thing is that lots of people don't know because they use plastic. They really don't know, do they? But would you think people spend $6 to $10 a day on snacks, breakfast, and that kind of stuff? What do you guys think?
Oh, absolutely, if not more.
Absolutely. Perfect. All right, great. So that's what we've got going on. So we're going to look at what's happening here. And Tristan fell off, but we'll get her back. So 93% of Americans are metabolically ill. That's basically it, guys. We're sick and getting sicker. And the whole thing is that those diseases, what's causing this, the leading diseases are like coronary disease and Alzheimer's and dementia and strokes and trachea. These are all lifestyle and preventable diseases that we're dealing with, guys. That's really where the problem comes into play. It's lifestyle. And when we start looking at that, then what we need to look at, well, if you start looking at this wheel of torture, if you start looking at that, look at all the things that are there. You've got maybe some of these, you might have some of these, like type 1 or type 2 diabetes, or type 3, which is Alzheimer's. You may be pre-diabetic, right? You may have gestational diabetes. You could have coronary disease, hypertension, obesity, weight problems, fatty liver, high cholesterol, high triglycerides. You may have neuropathy. You may be blindness. You may have other kinds of issues, kidneys. You may have fatty liver, non-fatty liver disease. Those are all different signs of what we call insulin resistance. So when we look at insulin resistance, look at some of the things. Maybe you have a struggle. Maybe you have acne. I've had back acne. Maybe you have low blood sugar, hypoglycemia. Maybe you have hair loss. I was suffering from that. Cravings for sweets or salts. Maybe you have a fatty liver. Maybe I'm told you had a fatty liver. Skin tags, little things that grow like little hydras out of your body. Or encanthocystia, which is where the skin looks dark. It looks like it's dirty. Or hump on the back of your neck. Belly fat, triglycerides. Tired after you eat. Weight gain, gout, decreased T. You may have PCOS. You may have to go to the bathroom a lot. You're craving salts. You're always hungry and tired and fatigued. Those are all symptoms of what is called insulin resistance. And one of the issues that happen with insulin resistance, guys, is that insulin resistance, when you hear that, you think, oh, I'm not diabetic. But insulin is a hormone and is involved in all the functions inside of your body. It's involved with everything. So if you have any of these kinds of symptoms, those are signs that you are insulin resistant. Insulin resistant. And one of our goals is one of Kurt's goals, Tristan's goals, our goals is that we want you to have a full lifetime of health as opposed to running out of your health and having a lifetime. Does that make sense? In other words, have you ever heard of having too much month at the end of the money? If you look at it from a health standpoint, we don't want you to have too much life at the end of your health. And if you look right here, you can see the one lady is what? She's needing a walker and assistance and that. And the other one is what? Spring chicken and going at it. They're the same age, guys. They're the same age. What is it that you want for yourself? What is it you want for your friends? When do you want to start feeling better? So we're going to talk about that. And how did we get here? Guys, how we got here is food. It's food. What you put in creates who you are. It's that simple. You put garbage in, you get garbage out. Now, the whole thing about this is, well, she's trying to get back here. We'll get her back. Is that it began way back with cigarettes. The tobacco industry is great at marketing, great at science, and they have a lot of money. And what happened was they used research at a university that showed that rats, they got addicted to a street drug called K of Cone, right? That one, the white stuff. What happened was then they put water with sugar in it. And then to see which would they want. They actually chose and became addicted to the sugar. Think about that. Now they realized if it was that addictive, then they aspirated it into tobacco. Think about that. Up to 20% of the weight of tobacco, cigarettes, up to 20% of the weight by volume was sugar. Now they learned how to do that. At the same time, they started taking fiber out of our food. Now, the reason they took the fiber out was because to get food to the theater without it spoiling in the war. So those that had MREs, those ready-to-eat meals in the military, they have the fiber out of it so that it would have a better shelf life. The thing that you learn is that if your shelf life goes up, your life goes which way? Down, right? Your life goes down. Then there came along the hydrolyzation, the process of hydrolyzation. And that was taking hydrogen and pushing it and forcing it into an oil, solidifying it. And that's where your peanut butter doesn't separate unless you make your own. So you'll see that it's hydrolyzed. Well, they took cottonseed oil, which was used as a lubricant and used as a lamp fuel because it was toxic to the body, but they hydrolyzed it and they solidified it, and it was a crystallized cottonseed oil, shortened that up to Crisco. They gave the American Heart Association, Procter & Gamble gave the American Heart Association $1.7 million. The American Heart Association gave it back out as Heart Healthy. They marketed it as it's digestible. Now you got that. Then you came up with rapeseed oil, which again, that was used as a sticky lubricant as for machinery. It was used as a fuel for lamps. But they hydrolyzed it, they hexaned it, they did all kinds of processing of it, and now it's called canola oil. And all the other kinds of oils are built the same way. They're highly processed. Now, that was brought to you. And now the big media comes into play. And then there's this thing, Tristan, if I asked you what's the most important meal today, what would you say?
Well, it's always been told that breakfast is the most important meal of the day.
Yeah. That's what we're told, right? But what a lie. Where did that come from? It came from a guy by the name of Kellogg to market his cereal. He got you to believe that breakfast is the most important day, and it is. When you break your fast is important, and how you break your fast is important too. But nothing says you got to grab a bowl of Cheerios or oatmeal at 7 o'clock in the morning, add an glass of orange juice to it, right? And some wheat toast. And guess what? Now you just spiked insulin up, haven't you? You just spiked that insulin up, and if they give that to kids at school, now they crash an hour and a half later. Now all of a sudden they're called attention deficit, they're lazy, they're ADD, they're all that. Well, you guys both are parents, and I'm a grandparent. I got 15 of them. You know that you do not give kids sugar unless you're going to send them to like the babysitter. You know, they don't get cupcakes at school until the end of the day because the teacher doesn't want to mess with them while they're just all hyperglycemic, right? Yeah. So the same thing here. And so what happened was big tobacco, a lot of people don't know that big tobacco bought food. In the 70s, they bought all the food companies and had them for about 20 years and then sold out of them. Well, while they had them, what did they do? They know tobacco has the money. They know how to what? Make things addictive. They know how to what? Profit from simple. And what happened was they took out the fiber, which was taken out, and replaced it with what? Starch. You start looking at it, starch, which was what? Starch turns into sugar faster and higher rate than sugar does. It's sweet without being sweet. It's that type of sugar. And then they added the oil to it, added salt to it, highly processed it, and made it highly palatable. So you're addicted to it. You're addicted to it. You can't just eat one, right? Isn't that one the thing? But you can't eat one, right? Once you pop, you can't stop, right? What about, you ever seen those cheese ball things, those big things of cheese balls? Someone might take one at a yeah, someone may take one out, but pretty soon you see them what? Bucketing it, right? And then you see it go down like by inches, right? But if you look at one of those little bags of cheese curls, the one at the convenience store, those little ones, if you read the back of it, there are 3 servings in that thing. Have either one of you ever seen anybody take out 3 cheese curls and then fold the bag up? Well, I got to put these away till tomorrow. No, they do what? Gull it down and we're done, right? So they got all this food is highly addictive. And then in 1970, which is, Kurt, you were born then, around then, now that came high fructose corn syrup. So during your lifetime, guys, in the modern food environment, your diet has been hijacked. It's been hijacked. And now you got big farm involved. You got everything else going on. So if we look at it real quick, here's big food. No, and then tobacco sold out. Tobacco sold back out. Now these guys are what's in charge of your food. Now let me ask you, do you think these guys sit around at their board meetings thinking, how can we make our food more and more nutritious? Or do they think, how can we save more and more money, make it more addictive, and thus more profitable? I'm just asking for a friend. So there's the thing about breakfast. Right now, the interesting thing about breakfast, not only did they sell that, they sold the idea to Dole, and Dole started, hey, let's bananas too. Yeah, that's good. Let's throw the potassium, right? But what are they also high in? Sugar. And then the orange juice group came in. So now you've got a breakfast that's all that. Isn't that insane? And all in the wind is waiting pharmaceuticals. These guys here. And agriculture and pharmaceuticals are together. And so now we're in that trap. I find this to be kind of an interesting picture because you know what? You see cattle at the feed trough. You see cattle at the feed trough there?
Yeah.
You see that? Now, that right there, those 3 levels of corn, that's all corn. That's the same stuff. But one of these is cat food. One of these is what's called steamed cornflakes. And one of these is your flakes. It's the same vegetable. And then this is a feeder station at an airport. I had to take that picture.
That's a great picture.
They're waiting to load up on popcorn. It's the same stuff. Tell me what the difference of the trough is. I tell you, actually the cattle are fed better than these guys because these guys are also getting fiber. In their mixture, they're getting hay, they're getting silage, they're getting fiber, they're getting nothing. Oh, they are getting some hydrolyzed oils, right?
Right.
And whatever. I mean, I diverse. Anyway, so I'm just talking about the modern food environment, the thing that we deal with, guys. And that's part of the real issues that we need to look at and talk about. That's why we got there. So here's where we are. This is what we got to. I clicked these out. Here's digital coupons. Look at all these foods. They're all in boxes and bags. Oh, and here's a big one of Eggos. Oh, they're only $3.99. Great. What's that going to be served with? A juice with no fiber? All these processed foods, guys. That's what we're fighting against. This is what it looks like. This is what happens. This is kind of what happens. You get like this. Mr. Belly so big. Part of my struggle. Just remember, when you see somebody like this, like I was, this is what they look like on the inside. There's a frame screaming to get out of there. This is what we're doing in our modern food environment. Isn't that insane? But that's what we're dealing with. That's what we're up against. So I just want a couple more things. I just want to go a little bit more. This is me. I just want to give you a little story about me. I've had the ups and downs of what I call diet whack-a-mole. I've lived 7 decades, and I've participated in every possible diet program around. Name Jenny Craig, Mediterranean, Atkins, you name it. Metafast, Nutrisystem, Raw Food, 360, Whole Food, Biggest Loser, and you know what? That's all money to the diet industry. That's all money to the diet industry. So the reason why you lose, the reason why you fail, is because one, you think short term. It's a flash idea. So ever make a resolution on New Year's Day that, by golly, this year I'm going to? Kurt, you ever done that? Trish,
yes.
You made that?
Yeah.
How many days did that last? 2?
Yeah, it lasts maybe a week.
Yeah.
It lasts longer if I say this year I'm not going to do this.
Oh, there you go. All right. and or if you go all in, you're all in. I'm going to all in, and then what happens is that then when you fail, as quick as you say I'm not going to do something, your body says on the chart, it's like, come on, just a little nibble, come on, you can, come on, come on. And then what happens is then it's destructive, and then you feel guilty. You take the little Hershey bar and you go in the closet and you hope nobody notices it, right? And you get it out to the garbage can anyway. And so you believe you can do it on your own because your family ridicules you. Oh, you think you're better than us? They're trying to pull you back in. And one reason you fail is that exercise, you can't out-exercise a bad diet. I mean, have you ever been told to move more and eat less? Yeah. How does that work? No, it doesn't. And actually, it's counteractive. Doesn't work. Thank you very much. English is a primary language only when I'm awake. So anyway, here's a couple of things. When I find out, let's talk. Those are some of the struggles. And that's some of my personal struggle. Just real quick, I'll give you the background. Why I'm passionate. What happened was October a year ago, last October. I went and had my blood check. And quick note story. The next day I went back in and I was critically extreme, dangerous. I should be dead. I make jokes of it, but no, I should be dead because my blood sugar was 834. Fasting blood sugar was 834, and my A1C was a 90-day average, which means I wasn't managing
I have a
very
question
well.
on that, George. Did they have you fast before you went into that, or were you feeling sick and then went into the doctor?
I had set Tristan, the great question. I had set an appointment at encouragement of others because I had been I started losing weight, and you get excited when you start losing weight, right? And I was losing weight unexplainedly. I went down to 143 pounds. I was suffering from sarcopenia. I was peeing all the time, literally 24 hours a day, every 2 hours or whatever. I had back acne, I had skin tags, my vision was going wonky, I had hair falling out, I had brain fog, I had fatigue, a little inflammation, a whole bunch of things like that were going on. And I fasted for almost 20 hours because I know that if I longer I fast, the lower my blood sugar will be. Well, I did fast. So imagine what it was if I hadn't been fasting for almost 20 hours. I was 834 and my A1C was 18.1. Those are, I should have been dead. I should have been in a coma. And the clinic was calling me all afternoon because this was 2 in the afternoon when I had the blood drawn. And the laboratory where my blood went to, they were calling me. They were panicking trying to get a hold of me. And I didn't answer them until the next morning. I go, say, what's up? And they go, how are you feeling? Are you sweaty? Are you nauseous? Are you dizzy? Are you falling down? All those kinds of things. They go, no, I'm fine. What's up? Well, we've been trying to get. I go, yeah. Why didn't you call us back? I said, I was golfing.
Yeah, you were busy. You were in the middle of a good game.
The etiquette requires your phone is off and gone. I mean, I'm not a doctor. I don't even play one on TV, so I'm going to answer the phone while I'm golfing.
And you're probably thinking, no news is good news, right?
Absolutely. I'll find out tomorrow. Fine. So anyway, they immediately wanted me to come in, so I went in. It was about a 20-minute drive, and I went in, and Trish, you would have thought it was ER. It was a beautiful, nice, plush clinic and all that good stuff. They rushed me in like, cold blue. I mean, it was just, and the attendees and everything else from the room. We went through the whole golf story thing, and they go, okay, so what's my number? And they go like 834. I go, okay, fine. And what's your A1? My A1 is 18.1. Now, both of those are records. Okay, both of those are records. And to be alive is a gift, and that is part of the reason my passion is I want to help prevent other people from going down any of this kind of path. Mm-hmm. And the long story short, I found the protocol that we're on, and in 107 days, my fasting blood glucose was down to 90. My A1C was down to 7.2. Now, 7.2 is still diabetic. Okay, it's still a diabetic range, but it was 18.1 on an exponential scale. It's not a linear scale. It's exponential. So to go from 18 to a 7 was Herculean. In other words, the protocol worked. Also, at the same time, I was actually gaining weight. My skin tags are gone. My back acne stopped. My brain fog finished. My hair doesn't fall out anymore. It's actually growing back. My lean muscle mass is increasing, and at 73, you don't do that. 73-year-olds are supposed to get fatter and icky. I'm up to almost 30% lean muscle mass, and my body fat has been dropping. I'm down to 18.9 now. So those two things are working in my favor. I no longer, and I never, oh, by the way, Tristan, I never took any diabetic medication. None. I should have been on, they should have threw me on insulin and a bunch of other kinds of things, all kinds of other medications and statins. I didn't take anything, because I believe that food got me into this mess. I know it did. I ate myself into this.
Did they put you on a fluid restriction when you were at the hospital or anything like that to reduce?
I went into the clinic and I walked out of the clinic. I have never stepped foot in the hospital.
Wow. That's awesome.
Wow. I was like, thanks guys. Okay, good. I got this. And the reason I knew the confidence I had was because this is part of the backstory. In 2019, in March, I had back acne and some of these other things. I had no idea about any of this stuff. I had some symptoms like that, and I couldn't read the highway signs there on 74 going into Peoria. The big turnoff signs downtown. Just you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you know the signs, and I couldn't. They're fuzzy. I couldn't really read them, and so I got a hold of Dr. Google. And Dr. Google said blood sugar. And I'm going, no, can't be. On the Filipino side, we have no diabetes on my family on that side. None, nothing. We don't have high blood pressure. We don't have nothing. Everybody just lives for friggin' ever. Mom's 96 still, right? And grandma was whatever. And then on my mom's side, we go back to the Jamestown Colony in America, and we don't have any diabetes on that line. So I totally ruled that out. Well, it kept going that Dr. Google said that. So I went and I got one of those sticky things, and I stuck my finger, and it read high. Not
I
how
didn't even
high.
get a number. It just said it was high.
It says you are so bad we aren't giving you a number.
Oh man! Wow.
And so I learned that I was at least 600. And so I called the doc and I said, hey, I need to get an appointment, but after the 15th, because Tristan, it's tax season. This was April 6th. I can't do anything until the 15th. So I went on the 17th, and I'm sticking myself every day, every 2 hours, trying to see if I'm getting my blood sugar down, right? And when I went in to the doc, he said, well, Delia, you didn't set a record, but you came close. And I said, what do you mean? He says, your A1C. He says, what's some A1C? And he's going to start telling me what A1C was. I says, I already know what A1C is. I've been talking with Dr. Google, so I know what it is. Well, what was my number? I was 14.3.
Wow.
So those numbers aren't as high as what I just did in October, 5-6 years later. So that's why I had a little bit of, I can do this. I've took care of it before. And so I found a protocol back then in 2019, which is a great protocol, but was unsustainable. Because I'm measuring my food and weighing it out in grams and counting every other which thing. And I love to cook and I love to eat. You guys know that. But I got off that protocol, but I had already gotten down again. So I didn't have any issues. So then that was 19. 24 is when I screwed myself back up. Now I've got a protocol that I found because food got me into this mess, food got me out of it. The protocol that we're on, that us and everybody else on the call is on, is simple, it's easy, it's sustainable, it's guaranteed, it's clinically proven. And we'll talk a little bit about that. So that's part of that history. So now you know even a little bit more of how I got myself into this mess, and now how I know how to stay out of this mess. And my goal is to help educate others so they don't even come close to this kind of thing. Not even close. So that's part of it. So that's part of my personal thing. Hey, Kurt, what's been how did you get into this? What's your personal history here?
Well, what happened to me was, I'm going to go back to, I guess, when COVID hit. Before COVID hit, I was trying to lose weight. Like when I was high school, college years, I was like 165, couldn't gain any weight. Then I became older, and then I went up to 220, and then I got up to 225. And right before COVID, I'm like, as years went on, I thought, well, I need to do something to lose weight and get in better shape. So I was going to the gym 6 days a week, doing a high intensity training, working hard. I had an app that you counted your carbs, your protein, your calorie intakes. And you talk about getting old and boring and trying to log all that stuff every day. What did I eat for breakfast? What I eat here? What I eat there? I went to a specialist, and she was trying to increase my carb intake, and then she would lower it, trying to mess with my metabolism to get it to burn, and then plus working out. And I mean, and then when the gym was, it didn't open. I was at work before the gym would open, so I couldn't go in the morning. Then in the evening, I had to rush from work to the gym, and it got to be a madhouse. But I did the gym thing for a year, got down to 210, felt great. All of a sudden, I had to travel out of state into Pennsylvania, and I built a surgical center in Pennsylvania. Well, out there, I was working 30 hours on the weekend and 50, 60 hours during the week trying to get this surgical center done. So needless to say, I was stressed out. I had anxiety. I couldn't sleep. I'd eat one meal a day, and that was always at night. So, and then I thought, oh, well, I'm eating healthy. I'm eating steak. I'm eating broccoli. I'm eating a baked potato. Ooh, I'm going to watch myself. Well, that wasn't good either. So, long story short, I was out there for a year. I'd fly home every other weekend. I was out there for a year, came home. I plumped up to 258 pounds. I couldn't hardly breathe. I couldn't hardly walk around. My feet were killing me. I had plantar fasciitis. I had sleep apnea. I came home. My wife, she was telling me, you need to get a sleep study because do you realize you don't breathe for like 2 or 3 minutes while you're sleeping? I'm like, no, I'm all right. So finally, I'm like, okay. So, I'm like, I'm going to go do the sleep study. So I do the sleep study and I come back and on the sleep study, they go, you don't have an issue with sleeping. You're obese. And they had it like in bold letters on my report. So, so I went to my doctor and I said, okay, how do I lose weight? I got to do something. I'm going to die. And he goes, oh, just eat 5,000 calories a day and walk around. You'll be okay. And I'm like, no, you don't.
Like being
I'm
on
like,
fire. Just roll around. You'll be all right.
yeah, it's like you don't get it. It doesn't matter if I eat, don't eat, if I smell food, look at food, I'm fat, you know? And so I was telling Stephanie, I'm like, man, if I don't do something, I'm going to die. I'd been over to put my boots on to go to work. I thought I was going to die. And then all of a sudden she goes, well, here, look at Dad, because you sent Stephanie, I guess you sent her a text or you sent her a picture on Facebook. And I'm like, holy smokes, because I haven't seen you since I was working out of state. What was it, about 4 or 5 months? I haven't seen you. I'm like, holy smokes, I don't even recognize Dad. Who is that? And I said, whatever he's doing, I have to do. So I contacted Dad. He goes, this is what I'm doing. This is what we're doing and blah, blah, blah. I did it that night, didn't I? Boom. I was on board. And I was just amazed. And so I thought, okay, so I started taking it. I took it for 7 days and then it was Easter. And I'm like, oh God, here I'm going to be the big fat man wearing, sweatpants to Easter. It's like, no, we always dress up for Easter as a family. So I thought, you know what? I feel like I have lost some inches. So I tried on a pair of pants, my dress pants, and they fit perfect. I was so proud that moment of losing a few inches because I thought it was impossible. I didn't think there was no way to lose weight. I've tried all kinds of stuff. And I did. I kind of broke down. I really did. I broke down. I kind of had I call it a sensitive fat boy moment because I was happy. I lost inches. I could wear my pants. I went to the family and everybody's like, "Wow, you've lost some weight." And I was like, "Yeah, I've lost some inches. Thank you." And then before I know it, the longer that I was doing this, I lost 35 pounds in 90 days. And I have documentation from my doctor that proves I've lost that weight. In fact, my doctor, I visited him a week ago, had other tests. He looked at my weight and test and he said, holy smokes, what are you doing? He goes, how did you do this? So, hopefully he's going to be on board with us and help people. I mean, this is life changing, and trying to convince people sometimes so hard because there's so many diets out there. They hear so much on the internet, but I'm telling you, get a hold of George, Tristan, myself. We're here to help you have a better life. I mean, my God, I lost 35 pounds. I feel like I float in air when I walk through the job site at work to work with my subcontractors. I mean, I have more energy. I used to get migraines from stress. I haven't had a migraine. I mean, it's amazing. I had inflammation. I had plantar fasciitis gone. And all because of eating the right food. Eating plant fiber to get to get the fat out of your system. It's amazing. It's amazing. Anybody, guarantee you try this, you will see results. 7 days, you will see results. I'm just, please, people, save your lives.
Thanks, Kurt.
So,
Kristen, has your packet come yet? Have you get to start it yet or not?
It has not showed up yet. It said that it was delayed. It was
oh,
Okay.
supposed to be here
yeah.
on Monday, but uh they and it's not just whoever that because I ordered something else and it also said delayed. So I think there is some issues with some traveling of mail.
Oh, yeah.
And
Up
you,
here.
what's your profession? What's your
I'm
profession
a
right
mail
now?
carrier.
Oh, good.
Well, currently I'm a mail carrier, but I normally I'm a supervisor of an auto manufacturer inside a paint shop.
Yeah, yeah. So you're starting the going to be starting the protocol, and we'll look tomorrow. We'll check on that status of that order too. We'll check on
Okay.
that too tomorrow. Um, so what is your why? Why what Kurt wanted to lose some weight, and actually he wanted to live because he thought he was going to die.
I did.
And
I
I should be dead, but God decided to keep me around. Now you're getting started for a lot of reasons. So what's kind of your why?
So a lot. My main reason is preventative. So like
Mhm.
you can, if you can nip it in the butt before it happens to you, that's probably best too. Like um, instead of being reactive, like those are things. But also, I am a sufferer of endometriosis, and I have polycystic ovarian syndrome, and I've had a hysterectomy in 2023, a complete total hysterectomy, and from the disease that I've had, I also had some bowel issues from it. And so they had to resect my bowel as well. So there's a lot of foods that I can't eat now. And I'm also having to take a medication to help me prevent from me to have like an ostomy bag. Because if something happens, I mean, I can have to have an ostomy bag due to that. So, I mean, that's all. And George introduced me to this protocol, and I mean I don't want to have to be paying $300 a month for this medication for the rest of my life. If I can get off of that and live a fuller, healthier life and manage my health and manage my weight as well. I mean, I've gained weight since I've had a hysterectomy. I don't know if you know anything about endometriosis, but it's all from estrogen. An imbalance of estrogen increases the tissue that is endometriosis, and it causes webbing inside a woman's internal organs. And so, like if you have a good metabolic balance, you can help prevent that. And even though I have had a hysterectomy, I still have my ovaries, and your ovaries are what produce the estrogen as well as other hormones in your body. So if you can have a good metabolic health, like I mean, that's long term for me. Like that, like George said earlier, is sustainable. And I have two beautiful boys that I want to be able to see me grow old. I want to see their kids. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
there's a huge long history of diabetes in my family. My mom's diabetic. My grandma's diabetic. My grandpa was diabetic, and he's passed away. He had all the problems that come along with diabetes. He had heart failure. He had necrotic skin. Like his toes fell off. He died from a diabetic toe.
Mm.
Um, and he was only 63 years old when he passed away in 2014. So, I mean, I always had an idea what diabetes are. And it's always been told to me that, like insulin is the answer to diabetes. Grandpa's blood sugar's high. Let's give him another shot of insulin. Well, if the protocol is helps you reverse that. Like, that's the exact opposite of if diabetes is insulin resistant, why are you giving yourself more insulin? Like, that to me, that just says like you're contributing to your own problem and adding more to your disease. So if I can take this protocol and my body can manage my health for me just by drinking something, I mean, that's all right with me. I'm on board. And I've heard lots of people talk on it. I've read all the comments and stuff, and it's too legit for all those people to be fibbing to me, you know. So it's been pretty convincing. I mean, you just looking at the weight loss, I mean, that doesn't lie. You can, to me, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, so you're absolutely correct on that, because we have all the kind of proof to show people, and I'll just run through a couple just before and afters. You've seen many, so we don't need to look at me anymore. But I got to show that. This suit right here, my mom bought me in 1970. I now have a 28-inch waist, and this suit is actually a little bit big on me now. There's this though. This is me with a 30-inch waist, and less than a month later, that's 28.
Wow.
So that's where we're at. That's some of my history. But going quick, just like you're saying, here's John. Now this is a little bit older picture than John, but John's down almost 80 pounds. Almost 80 pounds. He had a like what Grandpa had. He had a foot ulcer, and it's healed. And so he did everything the doctors told him. He was a great patient, but he found the protocol, and he's alive today. This is Andrea. Look at her. She now has a neck. She's got a neck. That's one of her biggest comments. Look, I got a neck now. You know, and that's less than 60 days apart. Here's Dr. Kenny. This is 35 days apart. Here's his wife. Look at this. She had PCOS, which you understand dearly, for 20 years and in 2 months on the protocol. Look at that. The guys are healthier. He doesn't have a pancreas. She's a cancer survivor. She was depression and things for over since she was 14. She's off all those meds because your gut is a second brain. You get a healthy gut, you change everything up here. You change everything up here when you have a healthy gut. And this is what this will do for you. Look at this. Now, he's a doctor of pharmacy, pharmaceutical doctor. You'd think he would know the good, but look at this. Look at that gut health. This is 90 days. So how many people that look one way that would love to just be there and continue growing? Yeah. Look at that kind of, and mostly would have no hope. They don't need the idea of move more and eat less. Who are they kidding? I can hardly move to start. It's really true. And so there's Tim. That's a cancer survivor. Lupus. You're in a death train. Look at this. Off everything that was lupus. And you heard last night lupus was taken care of with Jesus's wife.
Mm-hmm.
This is Sue. Her kids were getting ready to put her in a nursing home. She could hardly get off. She had so much inflammation. In her body. But yeah. This is Anne-Marie. This baby right here, this is our PCOS baby. That's Sam. Sam's mom had PCOS for 15 years. Was on the protocol for 4 months. Here's baby Sam. What a celebration of life.
Yeah.
And PCOS is the leading cause of infertility in women by a population of 20%.
You know what they give you when you have PCOS? They give you a thing called glucose. That's sugar.
Yep. Yeah, isn't that something?
Wow.
And the same thing is that how important is sugar, or not? How important is sugar not to be in your diet? Is that if you have cancer and they do a PEP scan, if you have a PEP, they have to put glucose in. They have to put sugar in there because cancer cells light up with sugar. If they didn't put it in there, Kurt, they wouldn't be able to see the cancer cells.
Wow.
It's like a firefly's butt. They get all, if there's sugar, they're gone. They're golden. They're showing up. We're here. We're here. We're here. Otherwise, no. And so here. This is a result of drinking soda and juice, and no one ever telling you not to.
Wow.
You'd think after the first leg amputation that doctors or someone would have said, hey, you need to stop drinking because he just survived on juice and soda. That was his liquid diet. Now he's minus 2 legs. He has a 4-year-old son. He's getting on dialysis. Now he's on the protocol. That's why I can show the picture. But the idea, guys, it went this far. No. Grandpa had a toe issue, right?
Yeah. It started with one toe, and then he had a second toe removed, and then when it moved to his great toe, because that's what it does. Because when you have neuropathy, I mean, you can't. They start so small, and you can't feel them at first because neuropathy, it's leg numbing, it's tingling. You can't feel when you have sores, so then they migrate, and then your body doesn't heal like it's supposed to. So then they just have to keep chopping away. I totally get why he doesn't have 2 legs right now.
Yep. And so, but nobody told, no physician, no practitioner, no dietitian, no one ever told him. Think about that. That's why it's called the sick care system. Anyway, there's Dr. Jim. This is Vicki, and Vicki is one of our major diabetic type 1. Type 1. Now, type 1 is irreversible, right? You need insulin to protect to live. But she's down almost 80% in her dosage.
Mm.
She doesn't have to load up before a meal. She's done a 72-hour fast, which is unheard of for someone on insulin, right? I mean, you get all this hypoglycemia and they scare the yesterday and tomorrow out of people. But she did this, and she's done kinds of fast. But look at the weight she's lost. Look at her shape. And if you're on insulin as an injection, insulin is a growth hormone. It's a growth hormone. That's why you get skin tags, for example. It's a growth hormone. Look at that. And amazing. So just like that, this is Corrine. Now, Corrine is retired, and Corrine is also a type 1, and she's lowered her insulin. She's lowered it at least 25%. She's lost inches. Again, she's a type 1, and she's lost inches. Look at that. Smile. Yay. Okay. This is the way it works, guys. This is the way it works. This is Cheryl. Now, Cheryl's turns 80 in November, but she's on the protocol. Because her twin sister, identical twin, died at like age 54 or so, like 18 years ago, but died of Alzheimer's. And so she's on the protocol to prevent it because Alzheimer's is considered type 3 diabetes. This is Kelly. Now, Kelly's down 26 pounds in like 2 months. She's not diabetic, and she has some other kinds of issues, but this was before she even lost that weight. So we're just getting better and better. This is John, Big John. John was a swimmer for me at the university and that. And John's losing weight. He's losing inches. This is Arlie. This will be the last picture I show. This is Arlie. She's our Canadian. But look at this. I want to show you this, guys. Look at this. How many of you could fit into your wedding dress from 15 years ago after 2 kids? How many of you wished you could? The same dress, 15 years apart. She looks better now. And she had 2 kids, and she had the kids when in her 40s. She had the kids in her 40s, and she's in the dress 15 years since there. So just showing you some of the befores and afters. A lot of people think this is a weight loss protocol, but it's not. But we do lose weight, which is great. I mean, who's going to complain about that? So the protocol, and we're going to wrap this up in the next 8 minutes. The protocol is the simplest thing in the world, guys, isn't it? We drink 2 teas. We drink 2 teas in a day, and we drink some fiber. Pretty simple. Is that too hard to think? It's willpower in a packet. So what we do is when you go after your last meal, you sleep, right? Everybody sleeps. And while you're sleeping, you are fasting. You're fasting, not eating, you're fasting. And after a while, your body actually starts to start burning fat. Now, that's what you want, isn't it? You want to start burning fat. So don't you want to burn your fat as long as possible before you start throwing sugar in? Your next meal is going to what? Next thing you eat is going to raise that blood sugar, which raises insulin. And then all day long, because how many times are you supposed to eat, have you been told?
3
3,
times.
4, 5, 6, right? Snacks in between to keep your metabolism high, right? You got to keep your metabolism high. What stupidity! That's asininity. Why would you want to keep your blood glucose high and your insulin high all day? It doesn't make sense. But that's how people are schooled. That's how people are schooled. So what we want to do is we want to burn our fat as long as we can. We drink a tea, and then at our first meal, we're going to have some fiber. Now, maybe our second meal, I have fiber twice a day. I mean, I just want to have it that way. But that's the protocol. Is that simple enough? I think so too. How is this proven? Who's done the research? Is the Cleveland Clinic prestigious enough for anybody? How about the University of Sydney, or the home of the glycemic index? The other schools and colleges and Health Canada. So in the PDR, this is one thing. I dare anybody that watches this, and I like old movies, so I double dog dare you. I double dog dare you to go take any of the prescriptions that you're taking, or your family member, someone that you love is taking. Look it up in the PDR.net. It's free. Look up, let's say, metformin. Look up any of the Mounjaro blah, blah, blahs that you're taking, or any statins or Lovastin or anything you're taking. Look it up in the PDR and look at the warnings. And when there's a box warning, I call it the black box warning, because if you take it, it could put you in the black box, potentially. But it'll show you all the contractions. Look yours up, and then look our protocol up, and you'll find it in there. You won't find anything else in there like our products, because our products, of which 18 of them are in there, we are listed in the PDR. We're listed in Health Canada. We're available FSA and FSAs. You don't get that. Vigivita Vitamin doesn't get that. Metamucil doesn't get that. We get this because we have clinical research studies to back everything up we say. The Cleveland Clinic, think about this. Why haven't you heard about this? Guys, this study was done in 2001. It says such a product, if taken regularly, could reduce cardiovascular risk on a population basis. Guys, that's everybody. If it was available to everybody, it would reduce the cardiovascular risk, which is the number one killer. The number one reason for death is cardiovascular disease on a population basis, potentially decreasing the need and or dose of lipid-lowering prescription drugs. I ask you this. Who does not want you to know this information?
Pharmacies.
Yeah,
Pharmaceuticals.
pharmaceuticals. Why would they? Why would they want you not to know this? Because then you'd have a reason to get off of it, and try to get off of it, right?
Right.
You would not be a profit center for them. What else? Oh, how about we look at blood sugar? This is a study, and now it's kind of funny. I had Eagles on there, right? What we did, we tried to see how bad we could make somebody. So they fed subjects 2 Eagles, 2 tablespoons of syrup, and 10 ounces of orange juice. Okay? That's what the study involved. And look at the difference. It lowered the glucose response by 43%. Now, you've heard of metformin. Metformin on its best day is 30%. I rest my case. I rest my case. Oh, what else we got up to say? Oh, let's talk about the tea. So Uno Mate, our tea, this tea I'm drinking right here, this tea, is willpower in a packet. Now, some people are taking shots to lose weight. Okay, they're, the Monjaros, whatever. And then that's for a GLP-1. Now, there's two levels of GLP. There's an upper level and a lower level in your intestines. Well, we don't know that. You also become GLP resistant, but your body makes GLP-1 on its own. Your body makes GLP-1 on its own. This tea, which is food, raises your natural GLP-1 by 60%. That is double what the artificial crap can do without any reason to worry about pancreatitis and all the other issues. The rate of suicide, the rate of body harm, self-harm goes up because your gut's being destroyed. There's a lot of things. This is natural. This is not your Uno Mate is not your Yerba Mate tea that you can buy at a store. This is concentrated, 375% more concentrated. It's patented. And the other thing about our protocol, this is I'm going to give you free advice here. If you think this is a sales commercial, I'm going to give you free advice that you can do on your own. But remember, I know you'll fail. But here's how it works. If you want the free advice, you're going to fast. You're going to eat fiber. You're going to eat fats and proteins. And you're not going to eat these guys that spike the crap out of you. Sorry for my French, but that's what it does. You want to ride the roller coaster? This is what you do. You want to ride the smarter issue? You fast. You go fiber, and you go fats, and you go protein. See how nice the little spike that is? See how nice that is? A lot smoother. That's my free advice. You want to really fix yourself? You get on the protocol with us. We have 5 patents, so nobody can make this. We have clinical studies. I've shown you some. We have a couple dozen of them. Printed, published, critically reviewed studies, and more every day. It's safe, it's natural, it's 100% guarantee. There's a 90-day money-back guarantee. When you went to the gym, Kurt, did they give you a 90-day money-back guarantee?
No, they did not.
Tristan, when you get a prescription of any kind, do they say, here it is, and we give you a 90-day money-back guarantee if you don't like it or if it doesn't work?
Nope.
No. Now, this we know works because we can prove it with your blood work. We can prove it works. The only way it doesn't work is if you never open the box. If you never open the box, we guarantee it won't work. But the thing is that there's no special diet. There's no counting carbs. There's no counting calories. It's very simple. It's so simple, it's called dumb simple. We fast with a tea. We have a lunch or whenever that might be. We have some more tea. We have a fiber with our biggest meal, and then we're done. Mm-hmm. We live in a food environment. Tristan, you live in, even where you are, I'll bet you are not 30 minutes away from a store with food.
Yeah.
Where you live. Yeah. There's food inside of a half an hour. Kurt, I know where you live. There's food inside of my gosh, inside of a 15-minute walk, you've got every fast food restaurant known to mankind and some that none of us have ever heard of.
Yeah.
But we aren't short of food. Guys, you're not going to starve. Fasting is part of a protocol, but you do the best you can. And this makes it easy. This makes willpower. This is willpower in a packet right here. This is willpower in a packet. These 3 packets. And we're cost neutral. Remember I said we asked about how much you spend on snacks and meals? Remember we're up to $10? Guys, this is cost neutral. It's about $5 a day. So you're actually going to be saving money. And I didn't even add to the amount of money you spend on weekends. I mean, Tristan, if your kids are in sports and soccer and that kind of stuff, and you're in the sidelines, every mother in the whole world has a bag or a box of colored juices and drinks and chips and cookies. And Kurt, you show up with my nephew or my grandson there, and he's got this bag. He's got his own bag of snacks, and you got your own. Well, you've got your mate.
Yeah,
we probably got her bag of snacks, right? And there's food right there. The vendors are right there. God love Wyatt. He loves lumpia like it's going out of style. He'll eat lumpia all day long, right? And so, but this is cost neutral. So if you had the ability to have something, guys, that's cost neutral, that's been around and proven clinically, has all the results, we have that you've seen the results, and it's patented. Nobody can make the fiber matrix. This is a patented matrix. It's patented, and it's been proven effective by the Cleveland Clinic, the University of Sydney, BYU, Stanford, and more. I love this, Tristan. I saw something the other day. People will blindly take anything a doc prescribes to them. But when we start talking about something that's proven, that can look up, they become a researcher. All of a sudden, now they want to, what's in it? How's it work? But that's fine. Prove us wrong. Prove us wrong. I double dog dare you. Compare this and our results naturally to whatever it is that you're doing. And if you're watching this, you're watching it not because you're entertained, because I'm not that funny, but you're watching because you are not happy with where you are and you need a change. This works. I dare you to use 90-day money back guarantee, because you'll see it in a week. Right. You'll see changes in a week.
Yes.
And at 90 days, you won't be recognizable. So, guys, that's where we're at. It's a very simple protocol. When you're not eating, you drink the tea. When you are going to eat, you have a balance. So like on the 4th of July, I don't know about you, but I enjoyed a lot of carbs. But I knew I was going to have a lot of carbs. So I had 2 balances, and I was swimming in the afternoon on an inner tube. I'm using my legs, kicking, so I'm using my big muscles. I'm just using it up because I'm going to go have some more. And I planned it. I'm okay with that. I don't worry about it. I don't worry about what if I show up at Tristan's house at a party. I'm not going, are they going to have enough food? Will there be enough for me? What are we going to have? And then I'm worried about where I'm going to go if I need more food. I don't worry about that anymore. I show up and I have my bottle and I'm good. I'll snack and nibble. I'm good with that. But I don't think about food all the time. So the big thing is, guys, I'm going to close with this. The protocol works. It's natural. It's effective. It goes to the root cause. That supports change. That makes it easy. And it's simple. Guys, I appreciate you coming on tonight. This was wonderful. Tristan is great. Now, here's the thing. Tristan is also has a shareable link, and you want to find more out, get a hold of Tristan, message her and that kind of stuff, and we'll help get you started. Same thing with Kurt. If you know Kurt, Stephanie, you guys get a hold of Kurt. He's got a link, and by using the links that I have, you'll save $70 off the retail. That's only retail available is on Amazon. It's not available anywhere else but through these really cool people here who I love. And if you feel like you want to help, if you want to join our crusade, then get a hold of Tristan, get a hold of Kurt, get a hold of myself, and we will help get you involved so that you can help others too. If you have that in your heart, that you want to help and prevent your children or your grandchildren, your friends and neighbors from going down the street that some of us already have, then get a hold of Tristan, get a hold of Kurt, get a hold of myself, and we'll help get you started that way too. We love you. I thank you guys. I just love the world out of the two of you, my blue ocean girl, and we're excited. And we'll chat later. Okay.
All right. Thank you, George.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you all.
All right. I'll knock this out, and there we go.